You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales. Streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
2, 1.
Hey, Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks for joining us again this evening. You're watching Sketch Up with Mog and Mel on The Experience. Tonight, we've got David Sandoval. He's back. We'll be talking Serum, Orchid, and Crown of Fire, his 3 books that he's working on in this first quarter of the year. And we'll be taking a stroll back with John Stinsman. That's right, John Stinsman is here tonight. And he'll be drawing Red Sonja live for you to bid on, while Mog will be drawing Baylette for you guys as drawing pleasure. Both of those will have a starting bid of $65, so you'll get a chance to place a bid on those. Now, we've got also more giveaways, and you know the drill. Put in #EXP SketchUp to get you in the qualified to get one of those free drawings. And we've got some pretty good ones tonight, so you definitely want to get in on that action. Okay, any winners tonight, any international winners tonight, you do pay for shipping, so please take note of that. I've got a couple other treats to share with you and an announcement that you're going to want to hear. All that is happening tonight on SketchUp, so don't go away. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Do us a favor, hit that follow button. Help us increase our followers. That will continue to help us bring wonderful content to you guys, like the original art show on Fridays at 7 p.m. and Friday Night Live with Comics Unlimited at 9 p.m. And you're not going to want to miss Fat Jacks at 4:30 p.m. on Sundays as well. Right? Check out the channel for more interesting content. And once again, another reminder, we've got like a doozy of some giveaways tonight. So go ahead and put in #EXP SketchUp to get you in the running for one of 2 giveaways that I have pulled out of my dark cave of archives going back 20 or so years or more. So you're not going to be able to find these things anywhere. All right. Well, at least one of them you won't be able to. Okay. All right, so we've got David Sandoval is back here in the house, and I personally asked David to come back because he was just putting up some incredible artwork in the last quarter of last year, and I was going, dang, this guy is on fire. He's rolling. Look at all the wonderful work that he's got. So I had to pull him back in to see what is up with all that, even though he did give us a little bit of a taste. How are you doing today, David?
I'm doing good. Again, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you're coming in loud and clear.
Okay,
and
awesome.
We also got in the house for the first time, John Stinsman. If you're not familiar with him, you will be tonight. We're going to be taking a little stroll back in time too with John. He's given us some of his artwork that he's done in the past, and some of it I do remember quite fondly back in the day. So we'll be taking a look at that. And like I said earlier, he's going to be drawing Red Sonja while Mog draws Baylette. They will both have a starting bid of $65. So if you want to get in on that, just go ahead and say so in the comments, and that will get you started. So we are looking for a bid of opening bid of $65. Any bids coming after that, we are accepting them in increments of $5 if you're here for the very first time. All right, let me just take a quick look at the comments here. Who do we have here today? Whoa. Kenneth Bird is in the house. Thank you. Skunk Knot is here again. Reefs, the Sea Forever is here. Phil Eiling, Philip Bryan, good to see you guys. Steve Vendetta from Canada is here today as well. Okay, thank you guys for joining us. All right, so David, what do you want to talk about first?
What do you guys want to know? I mean, I've got Serum coming up in a couple of weeks.
You've got Serum coming up. You've got Orchid that you're working on, and then you placed this posted this recently. This is an incredible piece that had Joe Weems and Steve Furchaw on there, and that was for Crown of Fire, if I remember correctly, right? Yeah. Yes. So let's if we can pull that up, JD. Let's start with Serum. Those files, if you see that there. and then we can like talk about those. Give us the pitch on Serum. What is that about?
Serum is well, it's my take because I came up with a story called The Cursed and the Damned, and I always wanted to um, expand the story and give a little bit of a prequel to it and show how everything got started. But I got so ahead with The Cursed and the Damned, and I released it and everything, the first issue, that I wanted to go back and I never got a chance to. And finally, after I wrote the story, I was kind of like, well, this is exactly what I want, and I took my time and everything because I always wanted to see a story where it's werewolves versus zombies and what would happen. And of course, this is my interpretation, and it starts with Serum, and then the story stops here with Serum, and then it goes on to The Cursed and the Damned, which is a modern take on what happened with Serum.
Oh, yeah, looking at this picture that we have up now, you've got a female character here and a Nazi guy in the background. You got a werewolf showing. Is she an antagonist or is she the heroine? Or
Yeah, well, I don't want to spoil too much. She's our she's the main
she
character.
is the
Her
main
name is
character.
Ava.
Okay.
Yeah, her name is Ava. The story pretty much revolves around her, and and I like I said, I if I say too much about Serum, then you'll
Right.
know exactly what's going to happen with
Okay. Yeah.
the Cursed and the Damned. But long story short, it's her trying to figure out, because they want a serum, they want something to help their soldiers last
Right.
longer in battle, be able to regenerate, things like that. So they're coming up with all these kind of serums, and she accidentally stumbles into one where it helps the person who has a broken arm. It heals it.
Mm.
The only thing is that it has a side effect where after it heals it works so rapidly that the test subject that they're doing it on, they start to die, but they're still alive while it's working. So it's kind of like a zombie, and they'll completely rot, and they don't rot that fast, but they rot
Okay.
like a zombie. And
I
at
see.
the same time, they've got the werewolves already existed before this. They just slowly have to come out because they have no choice when the zombies are around. It's either change and defend yourself or get killed.
Oh, so
So that's pretty much.
that's your kind of like your twist that you're putting on there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. That sounds pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that. And you just saw some of the incredible art that yeah we just brought up for David. Who's working on that book? Who do you have? What's your team there?
Fabio, he did all the pages,
Okay.
and Dan Olvera is going to be coloring all the pages, and then I'm going to get SK to he's going to letter the book as well.
Yeah. Okay. Now,
So
if you guys are not familiar with Fabio Simao, you got to check him out. He's putting in some incredible work. So you definitely want to see what he's got going on there. Okay.
yeah, he actually really wanted to be on with us, but he was like, it's going to be super late for me. So
That's how you can tell he's one of the old guys. You can't stay up that late anymore.
I was fighting with that same thing because I usually get up by 5 in the morning every day. So I was like, it's gonna be a long day tomorrow, but it's just gonna be one of those days.
Right. Yeah. And like for me, it's like I got to take a nap in the afternoons now. It's like I do some work, I have lunch, I got to take a nap. And I get my energy
Yeah,
back up, and I'm able to stay up a little bit later. I mean, I can like power through it and all, but then it gets kind of sloppy after that. Right. So that's the next book that you have launching, and you said that's going to be out in a couple. You're going to be launching that in a couple of weeks.
yeah. I'm hoping end of January, maybe the first week of February, give or take. It just depends on where we're at with the Myth of Namzu. It's if I get all the printing done and everything, and I start shipping everything out, then I think I can go ahead and probably do it at the first week of February. But it just depends on how fast we get all that taken care of.
Right.
So,
How many books are under your house right now?
well, published that we're doing so far, we've got Crown of Fire and Zoo. I'm hoping for Serum that this year I want to do Serum. Then I'm going to do Orchid and maybe April, May. And then I'm hoping that by then we can start working on Crown of Fire with Patrick again
Mm-hmm.
for the second issue since I've already gotten some of the stuff ready. The script is done. I know he was working on a couple of pages, but we all need to work. So I know um, he got a gig with working with Metal Shade over there with Isaac.
Yeah, with Isaac.
So
Yeah.
yeah, he's working on I think Hex. And I haven't really had a chance to speak to him because he's been super busy. But last time we spoke, he was like already getting into that. I already want to work on Crown of Fire, so so I'm hoping that by mid-year we can hopefully get that started.
I also saw that you guys got nominated. There was actually a bunch of everybody that got nominated for the Heroic Awards. This is their first year,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, and that was
yeah,
that for Crown of Fire or
yeah. It was for Crown of Fire. The only thing is, I know they sent me that nomination, but I haven't heard anything since. I'm not sure if they're going to be contacting us when they're actually going to have
right.
the
So
winners announced or
I'll send you the article. Okay, so but what we know so far is that they're going to announce the judges for that, and supposedly there's a bunch of judges. There's quite a bit of judges that they're asking to be on there. There's 11 categories, so I'm not sure. It's not really clear yet what all those categories are. And this will be something that will be announced during C2E2, which I believe
oh
is in
okay.
April. So that's coming up kind of quick. But yet we are still waiting to see, um, for artists, like who's going to be there in C2E2. We haven't got any confirmations back yet from Reed Pop to say who. So that'll be kind of interesting. So we don't know if this is something that's going to be part of Reed Pop, or is this something that's independently occurring, and maybe it can be like a traveling award thing to different cons or not. I'm not really sure, but there was only like one article that kind of came out, and but I'll send a link to you like after the show so that you can get that
Okay.
information as well.
Okay, that sounds good.
No,
Yeah,
it's good to see that
no.
you guys are on there. And like I said, with like a bunch of other people too, so that'll be interesting to see like what happens there.
Yeah, I mean, I was just excited to see our name, there. If we don't win anything, that's okay. Just seeing that was
Mm-hmm.
enough for
Mm-hmm.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Kenny Bird writes, "To my heart, I let you know I have 10 cents that's in my heart, or let you know, I'll let you know if I'm supposed to get when the doctor does the surgery." Okay. Thank you, Ken. Good luck to you. We'll be praying for you. Stevie B, nice to see you in the house. Did someone say nap? You're certainly right. Can certainly use it spending. Can certainty use one spending the getting down to Florida, dropping a like and getting in a giveaway entry, but plan on being a good listener tonight. Okay, well don't go too crazy. Stay safe out there, Stevie. All right, so and now your other book. Okay, what is Orchid? Is that the one that you're going to launch after that?
Yeah,
And the funny thing is this. Okay, you didn't mention Orchid the last time that we had you on the show. Okay. And Mog had done this piece for a client, right? For Black Orchid, right? Because she saw something Mog did and said, "Hey, this would fit this character. Can you do that piece?" And I was looking at it, no one's really done a story on Orchid. So I was like starting to think about it, and I'm going through my feed on Facebook. Orchid, David. But and stuff like that happens all the time. You're thinking about something and then you're going through, oh my god, Somebody's already got the idea. Has got a good jump on it already.
Yeah,
All right.
it's
So
like that saying when they're saying like when you see a car that you actually notice for the first time, all of a sudden you start seeing it everywhere.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That is very true. So give us the pitch. What is Orchid about?
So Orchid is it's kind of I want to say that it's like a cyberpunk style story, but it's also kind of like more sci-fi in it, and it's got this big twist. It involves, and I don't want to tell you what it involves at the
Hmm.
end, but
I like that.
there's like good, bad. Yeah, that's one of the evil characters. That one, she actually doesn't come out till the second issue. Her name is Aram,
Oh, okay.
and yeah, she's the villain for the next one. But yeah, long story short, it's a cyberpunk style, sci-fi, very sci-fi. It's gonna involve, you know, uh, portals and stuff like that,
Uh-huh.
and I had never really done a story with anything like that. So when I started writing it, I was really intrigued by what was coming out, because I did a lot of gore. And I don't mean gore as in like, things. It's just like when they're shooting with their guns and everything, there's going to
Yeah.
be a lot of blood in the story. And I had never really written anything like that because, I mean, I don't know. I know that there's right now a lot of people are like when I get on Kickstarter and I look at the books that are out right now, there's a few cyberpunk style books, and I wanted to do a book um, in that kind of spirit, but I didn't want to have to go full because I know that they do show a lot of nudity and stuff, and I was like, I don't
Yeah.
think I need to do that in order for the book to actually, hopefully be read by a lot of people and want to come back to see more, and don't get me wrong, I there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I've thought of a couple of ideas for other stories where it would work with that story, but for these things that I've been writing lately, it for some reason I can't fit those things in there just so naturally. It's a little bit hard for me. I know, like when I was doing Crown of Fire, that's one of the things that Patrick would always tell me. He's like, "Hey, are you gonna add a love scene here? Are you gonna do this? Are you gonna do that?" and I, I was always trying. Okay, I'm gonna try to add it here, and I'll add it here, and it was always one of those things for me where I needed to flow into the story to make it work. Because if I just add it, and I'll be like, okay, there's a topless barmaid over here, as a detail in the background, I can do that, but if it's like a scene that's actually going to tell part of the story, it's hard for me to work it in if it's not flowing in the way I'm writing it. So,
But that's
it's
the trick. I mean, how do you even I'm not really sure how you do it. I mean, because we look at it, it's a sex scene. It's a what.
yeah,
So how is it going to be that it's part of the story that you have to have it in there? Because naturally, that's not how
yeah,
we are in
yeah. I
reality.
mean, yeah, exactly. It's hard because I mean, I know I can write it, and I've thought of how I would write it, but there's a scene where I have. It's because I'm trying to in the story. I'm trying to write it to where the character, one of the characters in the story, her name is Thera, and um, she has like a romantic situation going on with Torque in the story, and they like each other. But I have that tension going on to where they like each other, but it just hasn't happened yet, and and that's one of the things where I was like, it has to happen naturally. I can't force it. So but but no, I mean, it is a little bit hard because you have, like, if you're actually gonna do, for me, like, you have to put the details in there, and I'm not exactly too sure how Patrick would draw it, but I know I would write it a certain way, and he would probably interpret it another way, and we might end up having something like that in the future, Crown of Fires, but
Because
I know that
you
it's
don't
not in the
know
second or third.
you don't know like how much you want to go into it. um I mean, do you want to go like Tim Vigil into it like
Oh,
that, right? And then it's like I'm watching I just was got done finished watching Reacher, right? And he had a couple like sex scenes in there, and as I'm watching it, they didn't really show much, okay, but I'm thinking, was it necessary? Why did they have to have it? That's what I'm
yeah,
thinking about. Like
yeah.
if you took it out, would the story be okay? Or was it what were they trying to say with this, that they had a deep relationship, that it wasn't like a one night stand? And yeah, they did reveal that, okay, yeah, they have a deep relationship, but was that, we kind of see that they have a deep relationship already, so did you have to really have that, right? So it just comes into question like that. I did like the series though, so far. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the first season. I really liked it, and actually checked it out. I before just that, and pretty good.
Okay. You're coming in kind of sketchy for me. Is anybody else having this problem, JD, or?
Is it
Yeah,
coming from the
I can't
computer?
hear him. I can't hear. He's chopping off like static.
Okay, try again, David. Are you okay now?
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah, okay. That sounds good for me now.
Okay.
Okay. Try. See. Okay, there
Yeah,
you go.
I just got this. I figured it'd be something I could use, but I guess it's not
All right. Yeah.
working
Yeah.
that well.
It sounds good. Sounds good right now. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So you're looking at those uh, sex scenes, like when to add them in, and then when not to, and should you, right? So that's what we're talking about here. If you guys have an opinion about that, go ahead and put it in the comments. Let's read that up here.
Yeah, like we did two versions of Crown of Fire. We did a regular version, and then we did the Inferno version. The Inferno version, a lot of, and got a lot of mermaids that drew them top. You know, that he says from the water should be undergarments like that. So I was like, well, whatever you think, man. I mean, if you think it'll look cool, and and it's crazy because that book, I sold almost 200 copies of that book.
Very good.
Yeah, it was like 180 some issues of the Inferno version, and it was crazy because I mean it's artwork, and for me, I saw it the same whether they had it on or off, but it was just one of those things where I look at it now, and it's crazy because you see other Kickstarters making so much money with
Right. That's
you know
the challenge, right? So I do admire you for going that route. Okay, and there are a few out there that have taken that same route. They might have like some sex scenes in their books, but it's not like all the time, and it's not like so blatant that like some of the other guys are trying to do. And their covers are not all like sexy pinups. Okay, and so, a lot of these guys, they are hitting over 50K, right? So I think it's a practice your craft more and be good at it, so that way you can get up there without getting into that area of just being like sexy stories, sexy pinups in that route, in that regard.
yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see with the heroic awards to see how they go, because they're targeting the people that have less than 1% of the market, right? And So we'll see what kind of books they're going to be able to pick from that and to give those awards to. All right, so let's see. JD is saying, David, it sounds like your mic is connecting and disconnecting. Can you pull it out and put it back in again?
Oh, it's this to the
How does that?
I apologize, sir. We can't. We didn't get any of that.
Yeah, we're still getting like a snap crackle kind of pop sound.
Is it wireless?
it's to
Where does that connect into the computer you're broadcasting from?
just to
Oh, through Bluetooth. Okay. You wouldn't happen to have a wired mic, would you?
mm,
Sorry, folks, for the technical difficulty.
So while that's working with David, I'm actually quite curious about John. Like, what do you think about love scenes? Is it necessary or not in a story? John, I can't hear you. I think you're muted.
We're just having a heck of a problem today. With
So sorry,
yeah.
John. There's no sound coming through.
Yeah, if you see the
Huh?
he's getting very angry now. Very
Back?
angry.
Okay.
He's gonna restart.
Oh, David, if you've got your mic in, you gotta unmute yourself as well.
Yeah, you're muted now. Okay, there you go. I want to say hi to Neil,
Okay.
Shawnee. Good to see you on here. Thank you. Guys
Any
for
luck
coming
now?
by.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, awesome. That's good. I thought in the beginning that you guys might have had me muted because I was trying to contribute a little bit and then no one was reacting. So I thought, well, maybe, I don't know. But it's all good now, so that's all that matters.
Okay. And Neil, Mog, and David, they are drawing Red Sonja and Baylet. Starting bid is 65. So if you guys want to give that up, there you go. John's
This
got
is
his
the
Red Sonja well underway.
layout sketch. You can kind of see that ahead of time.
Oh, okay.
You always get the
And,
layout sketch with the
can't
sketch.
quite see what Mog has going on yet.
It's a little too light yet, but
Yeah. But give them
yeah,
time.
I was just saying that
we
the
still
sex
got a lot of
scene-
time here. Yeah, go ahead, John.
scenes are good if they service the story, but just to be gratuitous, I think it takes away from the story.
yeah.
Right.
So-
Yeah, because you can only look at it so much, and then you get kind of tired. You're looking at the same thing over and over.
But I will say that
And,
there's a pretty sizable audience for that kind of
There is
material.
There definitely is.
You know,
Yeah.
there's a huge,
And that's why it's still out there, and people are doing a lot of it, and it's
people are making money
continuing
off
to
it.
do so because people are buying it. You know.
Mhm.
And all right, Neil says, I think some love scenes or kissing in some movies don't need to happen. Yeah, that's true. The kissing, I don't mind if it's just like a little peck. You said, okay, you know, I get it. If you're doing it between a couple, especially between like a married couple,
Sure.
you know, or between a child and a parent, you know, because those are things that we commonly do even in public these days. But if you're going to make something sexual out of it, and then it gets to be a little carried away, I think, especially if you do it repetitively.
Mm.
But I would say for me, David, it sounds like you don't really like want to, so don't do it. If you
Don't let Patrick talk you into it.
yeah, and I'm gonna tell you something. In 2018, just before COVID, in Japan, their manga world, they have something extremely prestigious called, it's divided into almost two categories. One is a shonen manga award, and then one is the shoujo manga award. So one is like for female audience, and then one is for male audience. And in the shoujo manga, number one, the best, so they won they have a rank, and it's like the highest award, number one. I don't know how to say it, but someone won this award, right? So I read that book. It's a short story, so it should be about a love story, right, between two people, and not even once there was a kiss scene. But it won the most prestigious award. It's like the Academy. You're basically winning the Academy Award if you get that. If you even have a title of that, you're set. So this lady, she got that. So that's why I wanted to see, what is there something that stirs the emotion and stuff. No, she just did these stories that wasn't really as immersive emotionally, but it was surprisingly like political and historical, that these two characters happened to be in that world. So there was a lot of world building that was really interesting. And then later on, she won the award for that. I was so surprised that they would give that specific romance genre award, the number one award, to her for that. So David, if you can even just squeeze some kind of sentimentality without any kind of skinship, I would love that personally, because I'm tired of seeing that.
And JD writes, personally, I can never have enough smut, but that's just me.
I've made a living off of it.
Hey, I'm not going to, I won't deny that I like the sexy pinup stuff.
Yeah.
I even have some of that stuff. Okay. If it's something that I like, I will pick it up. Okay. I do like the female form. I do like looking at it. I freaking love it. It is a piece of art as well.
There's a lot of females that enjoy that as well. I mean, even if they're straight, they don't have to be gay or bi, but I get a lot of women come by my table and
all the time.
Really admire the pieces that I have.
And Shawnee is here, and she can attest for that, because I know that she does.
Hey, Shawnee, haven't seen you in a while.
And Shawnee's a great person.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, in case you're curious, David, that story is called In the Land of Gold and the Land of Water. So it's an interesting premise where there's a land where it's almost like, imagine Constantinople back in the days, the Byzantium Empire, right? And then right at the outskirts, they call it's the Land of Water, which is kind of like the European border. And they're poor, but they have water that's plenty. And then these empire is freaking rich. That's why they call it the Land of Gold. And it kind of reminds me, back in the days, they used to call India the Land of Gold and Silver. The Land of Gold, actually. I didn't know that. That was interesting. So this is kind of at that era. So I thought it could be India too. So they're rich because there's so much trading posts coming in. I mean, and that's why they're so freaking wealthy. So they have these two climate kind of problem. One's a desert, one's a water, and then it kind of sets off from there. So, yeah.
That's cool.
Very.
All right. So anyway, don't forget to put in #EXP SketchUp. That'll get you qualified in the running for that. And let's take a look at what Mog and David have so far on their paper.
Yeah, David, show us now.
I'm nothing.
What have you been drawing over there?
Just lines.
Okay.
Mog is still
working on it. See what I mean, John? That's how slow Mog is. What do you have so far, John?
Hey, you know what? If someone's slower than me, then I'll take it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There you go. All right.
Wow.
Okay.
That's amazing.
He's got a good amount there on. Anyway, if you want to bid on those, we are looking for an opening bid of $65. Don't go away. We'll be right back. We've got more to talk with David, and we're going to be taking that trip down memory lane a bit with John. Okay? We'll be right back.
Why was Princess Zelda sad after watching a bunch of YouTube videos? She couldn't find a link in the description. We'll stop if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's super easy. Click subscribe and click the bell when you do. And thanks for supporting the EXP.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com to find a store near you.
And we're back.
Oh,
Awesome.
sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to show you guys what I've been working on.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that
Whoa.
looks really nice, man. Gotta say, you still need some improvement here and there, but you know.
So
You drew that?
you drew that?
No, John drew it.
Oh,
Yeah, that's one of the covers I wanted. We haven't actually shown it off at all.
Not official.
Okay,
And-
so a little bit
Yeah,
of a
not
teaser.
officially. Yeah.
And that was going to be one of my next questions that I was going to ask you, but you answered it right there. Is how is John tied into this?
John is actually one of our official cover artists.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, so he'll be doing a cover for every single book we have.
Okay.
I'm
And
excited
that one-
about it,
That
man. It's
cover
gonna
was
be
that
awesome.
for Serum?
No, actually,
That's the
that's
first
for
one.
Crown of Fire.
Oh, okay. So for Crown of Fire. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
John, like your work kind of reminds me a little bit of what's his name, Arthur Adams.
Well, God, you couldn't give me a better compliment than that.
I was just wondering, like,
I mean, that he's my favorite artist.
oh really?
Yes, absolutely. Him and Michael Golden are my two favorites.
Michael
Ooh.
Goldman?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's like
Mike.
totally two different style. It's amazing.
They are. I just grew up on them. To me, that was the books that popped. You know, when first time I saw Longshot, you know, it just popped. And then, you know, when he did the Avengers annuals and things like that. And then Michael Golden, he was on Micronauts and did a Star Wars issue. He did so much stuff back in the day.
Right.
That it was just the right time for me to just love that stuff. And then there's other artists like John Byrne and, you know, many others. But those two guys, to me, Art Adams is number one guy because over the years, a lot of times as artists, we start to deteriorate. You know, our work starts to not look as good. But Art has gotten better every conceivable drawing he's done since day one. And that's to be admired. He does not lack effort when it comes to drawing his stuff. I mean, he puts in 100,000%.
Yeah.
And it shows.
Yeah.
There's another beautiful cover right there.
And he started out very, very slow. And that was some of the issues they had with Longshot. I do remember seeing the very first piece of art that they put out for him. I think that was Marvel Fanfare number 13.
And Mel, do you know who inked that book? Do you know who inked Longshot?
Who did?
You should. Wills.
Portacio?
Yep.
Oh, you know what? You're right. That is that's absolutely right. I definitely knew that. I just totally forgot about that.
So you know how it's interesting how you pointed out the fact that Arthur Adams keeps evolving, like progressing.
Yes.
So have you? And I think Mel, you mentioned how he was influenced by the manga kind of aesthetics.
Mm-hmm.
Have you also looked into some of the art manga that maybe Arthur Adams liked? And then
I don't know what he looked at, but I love so many manga artists, mostly from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Like Masamune Shirow is probably my favorite.
Mine too.
You know,
Definitely mine.
Katsuya Terada is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
what did you do? Katsuya Tora?
He doesn't really do manga. He just does these sort of like one-off creations that are just mind-blowing. I would look him up, and you know, there's so many art books that he's put out over the years, but his work is just really beautiful, and it's more aligned with what your style would be than mine specifically. But it's just really cool.
Yeah, I liked. I was a big fan of Masamune Shirow I still am.
Oh yeah,
I still like his stuff. Had all his books that he put out there, and stuff. All his art books. Got his posters. They were putting out these beautiful large posters from I think it's called 1000 Editions from France,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they were huge, right? And I would like whatever they were putting out, I was picking those up, right? Because they were on this nice glossy kind of like reflective paper, very super thick, but still kind of flexible.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just beautiful. But when they were coming over here, you'd see on sale for like $100 or so.
Oh yeah.
And at that time, that was high. You know, when you saw that kind of stuff, this was
Sure.
like in the mid '90s already when they were coming out with that. But they were just so beautiful to see his artwork and all the cyberpunk kind of stuff that he was doing back then too. You know.
Oh yeah, he's been, I mean, mind-blowingly. He's been one of like I said, my favorite, probably all time. You know, from Appleseed to Dominion.
Yeah.
He's done so many books, you know, over the years.
Yeah, I still have those Appleseed books too. That was a good one. And then watching the anime for it too. That was a lot of fun too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, great anime for sure. They never really did like the definitive Appleseed for me. I was just saying they never really created the definitive Appleseed anime compared to the manga. You know.
Yeah. Now, David, you also have you're still working on like Crown of Fire. Okay. Is that the third book that's going to be coming out in this run this year?
I'm hoping, as of right now, it's still up in the air. But like I said, I hope after Patrick finishes what he's doing,
right,
hope we can start it. The other book that I'm hoping to do is the Kristen the Dam #2, and that will be hopefully that'll be towards October, kind of like just in time for Halloween.
Thanks for that bid, Ilya. He's got the $69 bid on Red Sonja for you, Mog. What a trooper he is!
I know.
And now, David, you also there was I admire Steve Forshaw, because he's a really good colorist. And you had that one post you did recently where Joe Weems had worked on that piece as well.
Yes.
If you know which one I'm talking about, JD, if you can bring that up, and then it's Crown. It's called Crown 2 on the for the file name. And we can take a look at that. There you go. And look at that, man. Really like the way how that's done. Is this a double page spread in the book, or is this like just a cover, or what
That
is this?
was Steve actually drew that as a promo for me, and I was hoping to use it as a cover, wraparound cover,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe also have it as like maybe an exclusive print, maybe a black and white print, because he drew it and Weems ended up inking it, and then of course he colored it, and yeah, I've had it for a couple of years actually, and we just hadn't been able to use it, and finally. I think either in the second or third issue we'll be using it as a cover, but for right now, I was just using it as a promo piece. That one right here, and then the other one he did was penciled by Patrick, inked by Weems, and then colored by Steve.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Ilya, I need to get clarification on that, Ilya, because Mog is drawing Baylette and John is drawing Red Sonja. And you said for Mog, I'm bidding 69 for Red Sonja. So I'm a little bit confused there. So just if you can just clarify that for us. But right now we have you 69 on John's Red Sonja.
I got a couple of, so people might not be familiar with the finished pieces, which I had two from my old live streams left over, so people can have an idea of what the finished pieces kind of look like. And if anyone wants to grab these at the prices that they're priced at,
there you go. What's that for? Okay, so that one right there, $80. Oh, okay, and 85. There you go.
This is
so
Felicia from Darkstalkers video game,
right?
And this is Icaria from my Scarlet Crush comic.
There you go. Okay. So if you want those, you said those were claims, or was that bids?
Yeah, those are claims.
Okay, so those are claims. So if you want those, just put it down in the
Still claims.
comments, and John will take care of you on that. Okay, Ilya, we got you down $69 on the Red Sonja for John for that. So thank you again for that.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Okay.
Appreciate
And so
it.
if you do want to play, anybody else, if you want to place a bid on the Red Sonja, we are accepting bids of 74 or better on that now. All right. So there you go. Okay. So yeah. So we got the Crown of Fire, and that's coming. Hopefully that will come out for you there. We'll be able to get a chance to see that later on this year, because that's looking great. And that's one of the books that we looked at the last time that you were here, David.
Yeah.
What else have you got for the rest of the year?
Well, the last book, it's The Cursed and the Damned. I have the first issue that's already been printed. The second one, I've got artist Eduardo Garcia. He's going to be penciling the pages, and Dan Olvera will be coloring them. We've already got everything ready. I just need to give them the go so he can start. But yeah, that like I said, that'll be the second issue to The Cursed and the Damned, which will be published under Draco Star. The first issue I published it about, I don't know, 10 years ago maybe. Yeah, it was about 10 years ago, and I got out of the comic business for about 10 years, taking care of personal stuff and all these things going on, and now that I'm
Were you part of the
able
Image
to.
crew? Were you part of Image at all back then?
No, no, not at all.
Because you seem to be pulling in or know quite a bit of the Image guys. How did that come about then?
Well, it's funny because when I started off, I was just connecting with the right people. I started off, I had Kevin Conrad working with me, Richard Bong, and from there, like Steve read one of my. Well, he read the the script that I had written to. It was called The Tribulations of Abaddon, and that kind of transferred into Crown of Fire. And he read that, and and I don't. This is what I remember, and please, I hope he doesn't change the story on me. But I think he was quite intrigued, and he reached out and said that he wanted to do a piece for me, and I jumped on the opportunity right away. But he did say, I'll do it if you can get Weems to ink it. So that was the other thing. So that's how I connected with Weems. And
But did you know Weems before that?
personally, no.
No.
And
So you
and
just
I mean,
reached out to him.
yeah, I just reached out to him and I explained the situation. I told him that Steve wanted to do a piece for me, but only if he would ink it. So of course he said yes, and that's how I met Joe. And I've stayed in contact with a lot of those people as the years have gone by, but I just wasn't doing any comics or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was telling you on that chat that we have, like Matt, Bat, the inker, he's going to be inking a cover for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he was one of them that we had spoken to a long time ago, that he all wanted, kind of wanted to work together and stuff. And like I said, it was just working out for me where I was connecting with the right people. But life happened and I had to kind of stop for a few years and get my stuff together. And and it was just one of those things where it hurt to stop what I was already really invested in, but I didn't really have a choice. So now that I'm kind of settled I'm where I'm where I need to be right now, and I think it's working out really well. I'm trying to do everything at a regular pace. The Kickstarters are helping get these books funded and done, and it was crazy because I think I did a Kickstarter a long time ago, and not even with Weems and Steve and all the other people, Patrick, on board to do all these things I was doing,
Uh-huh.
and I think I had the Kickstarter for like 1,500, and I didn't even hit 1,500. So I thank God now because it's crazy how just I think it was the perfect time for me to come back because I got Patrick had done Crown of Fire about 8 years ago, and we just had it sitting, and we never did anything with it. We never published it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just talked and said, hey, you know what? Let's do something. Let's get it out there. Let's make a little money and finally get this book out and see how everybody reacts. And
Yeah.
everything just happened, and that motivated me and inspired me to, pick up the other stories that I've already had kind of started and, dust them off and kind of finish them and change a couple of things here and there. And
Right.
that's pretty much where a lot of my stories that are already done, because the majority of all my scripts are already done, but I'm going back and changing them because I have a very weird writing style, and Patrick works with it really, really well. But I went to film school, so when I went to film school, I try to write everything like in a screenplay format because it makes more sense to me. And then I forget, and I have to tone it back because I want to give the artist a
Yeah.
chance to show
Very
off what
good.
they can do.
Yeah.
You know.
You got to understand the medium so that way it will work and you'll get the best benefit out of it. Right.
Exactly,
So,
exactly. Because
and
I if I just put in every single detail, then
what's the point?
yeah,
Might as well
exactly.
write a
I might as
novel.
well drive myself. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
it's
I've had those. Mog and I have had those conversations all the time when we're reading something or looking over a script. Well, this is too wordy. It's you don't need, if you're going to be like this. There's no sense. There's no point in really drawing it out.
yeah,
So
and then
there has to be that balance.
yeah, and I do have the bad habit of sometimes, I understand that a panel is like you can't put walking in a panel because obviously you can't make a person walk in a panel. Yet every time I write something, I leave it in there because it's supposed to be kind of like maybe a walk motion or something like
Yeah.
that. And sometimes I forget that the reader or the artist who's reading it isn't going to interpret it the same way I write it. So sometimes I have to go back and change them. So,
Yeah.
but
So I think that's why I think as the creatives in this industry progress, right, they learn to be a little more loose, right? Because you want to see how that relationship is going to develop, and each one is different. Okay, like the way how you work with one artist to another is going to be different based on how they understand you and how they interpret the script that you give them and the format that you give it to them in. But there's all these factors and a lot more that you've got to come to terms with to try and understand. Just want to get to a comment over here. Where is it? Shawnee writes, she's talking to you, David. I don't know if you saw this, but she said, David, it took me a minute to make the connection. Wanted to say, looking forward to Myth of Namzu. Okay.
oh,
she's a fan. She just didn't put the connection with you there.
oh, well, that's awesome. I'm glad.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure you caught that because Shawnee's a good fan of ours. She's a good fan with everybody, even with John. We all know her from around here as well. Yeah, but one of the things that I want to do, because to me the art is kind of easy. It's I mean, I'm not gonna. It's not real easy, but I think compared to the writing, it is the hard part. Right? Is being able to write a comic book in a way that it can be interpreted as a comic book by everybody else that's like working on it. And so one of the things that I want to do later on is to be able to put like one of our episodes together where we do just have a bunch of writers on there and just kind of like compare notes in a way like, well, how are you handling this? How do you kind of do that? That kind of deal.
Oh,
It's
that's
not
cool.
something that I've actually seen too much. We've seen like artists get together and they chit chat, and writers will come together, talk about, I did this story, I did this, but they're not talking about the techniques or the tools that they utilize that's within the medium that they can use to help tell that story.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I want to see if I can get to more of that, and hopefully I can have you in on that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a few years ago I had a gentleman contact me about, he wanted me to write a story for him, and he gave me the details. He gave me a little bit of an outline, and I think I wrote a pretty good story for him. I sent it to him, and he completely changed everything on it, like everything I wrote. And he sent it back to me, and he told me, "Hey, I changed this and this and this and this and this." And I said, "It's your story. You do what you want, but I can tell you right now, doing this doesn't flow in a sense to where it doesn't make sense over here,
Yeah.
because you changed it, and I wrote it to all fit together." And he's like, "Yeah, but this is how I want it." I'm like, "Hey, well, you're the boss, you do what you want to do."
Yeah.
And I think we went back and forth a couple of times because I couldn't get him to understand that I wrote it exactly how he wanted it,
Right.
with all the details he wanted, with all exactly how the outline went,
Mm-hmm.
and he still went in there and changed stuff, And at the end, I told him, I go, "Hey, you know what? Don't even pay me for it. Keep it. Just take my name off of it. I don't want to."
I've been
Because
there. I've been there.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, it got to the point where I was a little bit upset because it was like, why are you going to hire somebody to do something for you and then completely rewrite the whole thing, and it didn't make sense
Why?
anymore.
Yeah,
So
I know.
yeah, so that's why I told him, you know what, just keep your money, man. It's all good. Just take my name off the story. Yeah, so it's happened already a couple of
Yeah.
times, and
Right.
I can follow pretty good directions, but and it kind of goes like with what you're saying. I can write a certain way. He probably wrote a different way, and when I would send him the like, "Hey, this is what I've got for page one. This is what I got," and everything was okay until the end when he got the whole thing. So I was kind of like a little blown away with that, but it makes perfect sense how one person will read it, interpret it one certain way, and for how you're saying. I don't know. Since I've been writing, there was a quote I ran into a long time ago, and it's always stuck with me because I use it every time I'm going to start a new story.
Mm-hmm.
And the quote is, "A blank page is God showing you how hard it is to be Him." And I always think about that. I always think about that because it's true. Like, I have to create a complete brand new universe, a world, characters, backstories, future, like all what's happening right there and then. And it just stuck with me, and I always, every single time I start any story, I always think of it. Okay, how's that quote? Okay, and then I start.
Interesting question for you, John. Like when you do your artwork, your covers, right?
Mhm.
Are you concerned? Do you look at the story at all to get inspiration, or do they just tell you pretty much like what they want to see on the cover?
Usually I'm sent at least, unless it's a number one, or even sometimes when it is a number one, whatever they have in terms of the book itself, I'll get the copies of it, through Dropbox or something, so I can peruse, because I like to have a sense of the character that I'm drawing and what their motivation is, how they, their internal workings, so that
Uh-huh.
way I can externally present them in a way that's true to the character. It doesn't seem like, oh, well, why do you have the Punisher picking daisies? You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense. I was like, well, I didn't know. So, yeah, I like to have as much information as possible about the character and the story. so that I can, unless, you know, a lot of times the artist or the writer will have a specific concept, you know, that I just have to run with, which is fine too. I mean, however it works is fine by me. It's so much easier for someone to describe something to me visually than it is with words, because I feel like there's too much misinterpretation and confusion when people are trying to express what they want with words. But if they go, you know, here's a picture I found that I'm inspired by, can you do something like this, or give her this hat, that pair of boots, or whatever, and they send me images, then I can put it all together. My brain gets it, you know.
Yeah.
That's the best way usually to do things, for me anyway, you know.
Okay. All right. Going to the comments here, Shani writes, writers are somewhat unsung heroes. They are as important. Often that's what grabs our attention. But if you don't have a good story, you may not get longevity with your fan base. And that is very, very true. Okay.
Sure,
and
yeah, absolutely.
they are quite the unsung heroes, because a lot of the ideas or the creations, that's where it starts. It's with the writer. Right? They're the ones that are creating the worlds that we see, the characters that we like or hate, right? And it's the artist that brings that vision of the writer that we can see in this two-dimensional format. Yeah.
Now we're falling into the world of you know, Stan Lee, Kirby, Stan Lee, Ditko. Right. Who did what? Who deserves what? Who really came up with what? You know,
right? Yeah, they had. I think they had kind of like a looser format then, where they did a lot of brainstorming together, and so that's what kind of like makes it difficult. The lines seem to be a little bit more clear these days for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I think so.
There's still some ambiguity with some of the things that are going out there on some of the creations, but for the most part, I think it is pretty clear, and it's because of that we try to make it clear. Let's see, and these guys are also in the comments are talking about some of the past artwork that they received. So I want to thank you guys for that. Fang, who was here a couple of weeks ago, we're going to have her back here again soon. Right now, she's at Portland, getting ready to do the show over there, and then she's going to be heading to MegaCon. And so hopefully, maybe after that, we'll get her back. So I'm glad that you guys enjoyed that work. That Bill Mouse package was incredible. I wanted it myself. So that was like something to see. Ilya writes, a blank page is what I create after I erase the art. And then before that, Steve Vendetta wrote, or a blank page is really a polar bear caught in a blizzard. That kind of reminds me of that John Byrne cover. He did like a kind of like an all-white cover. I think it was a Fantastic Four cover. And
I'm remembering that now.
On there, this thing, and we were going, he got paid good money for that.
Yeah.
Probably took him like 5 minutes to draw that. Yeah. But that was fun. Yep. Anyway, let's take a look at where you guys are at. With Mog, you got something on there now? The Baylet. Okay.
Very nice.
Yeah. Okay, it's not Invisible Woman, like JD was trying to say earlier.
Right.
And
right,
put me on the spot
there. So we're still looking for a bit of 65 on that. I do want to bring Bill back, Ilya, and he wants to come back too, so eventually we can, but I don't want to bring him like every week. Plus, he has his own show too, so you could check him out there. All right, John, let's see where yours is at with Red Sonja.
Here we go.
That's right. There was a red one too, Ryan. You're correct on that. On the Fantastic Four, there was a red cover.
I think John froze.
John froze. All right. Well.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I can't see the artwork.
Let me. If I have to, I'll come back.
Okay. There you go.
Again.
Try that. Okay.
You know what, David? I was reading about writers, and they're doing all this advice on writing, and most of them were saying oh, I wake up early and my mind is like fresh when I write. I like to write like from early morning till afternoon, something like that, right? And then I read a quote from Lovecraft, and he said, "No, the best writing time is at nighttime. When everyone's asleep. That's when your imagination can go really wild." And I dare writers to write, during the nighttime, something like that. So I'm actually curious. What about you? Are you a nighttime writer, or are you more of a daytime writer?
Yeah, I usually write at night. I don't think I've ever actually, well, maybe once or twice during the day, but the majority is always at night. And they always say you have to write every single day. You have to write even if you have to write a sentence every day, but write something.
Yeah.
I sometimes go without writing for a week, and then I'll feel like, oh, you know what? I feel like writing today, and I'll write like a whole 24 pages,
What?
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, John, can you show us the red Sonja? There you go. Okay, so that's already got a bid of 69 on there. We are looking for the next bid of 74. He's working that up really nicely. Look at that. You want that. Okay. All right, anyway, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with David and John. And we'll get together with John and see what he's got going on there. All right, so don't go away. We'll be right back.
Did you know that every experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out. Twitch.tv/the_EXP. Or just scan that QR code.
Symphonic verses, Nocturne's romance. A song of romanticized darkness, dreaming dead by sleep.
By this time in our journey, we had been on the trail of a very elusive creature for about 96 hours. But all the hard work is about to pay off. Oh, crikey, there she is. Oh, by the markings, I'd say this one's at least a 9.8. Oh, she's a real beauty. A true mint copy. Oh, this one will make a fine slab on anyone's display wall. Oh, she's a feisty one, though. Look out, look out! Mint Hunter Comics is the place to find that mint comic you've been searching for. Mint Hunter Comics, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, part of the experience.
Programming on the EXP is made possible by viewers like you, or your local comic shop, or that Kickstarter you backed, or the publisher you like, or comic industry professionals who want to share a message with the world. Really, anyone who wants to advertise with us can. If you're interested in seeing a product you know and love, or are creating, or are publishing, or are involved with, advertised here on The Experience, and having your message shared with our viewers, please reach out by scanning the QR code below or visiting our website and using the contact form.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. You're watching Sketch Up on The Experience, where we're here with David Sandoval and John Stinsman. And don't forget to hit that follow button so that we can continue to bring you wonderful shows like our show, right? And later on, we will have those free giveaways. So if you haven't yet, put in # EXP SketchUp into the comments, and that will get you qualified for that. David, where can they find you on the internet? What's the best place to see your
website would be www.dracostarstudios.com, And you can find me on Facebook at, you can search David Sandoval. I know we have a page for Draco Star Studios as well. Everything we post on my personal page goes on there. Yeah, we have links to everything there as well for the Kickstarters, the website.
Have you got
everything.
a launch page already for your next Kickstarter?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so you're right. So you're gonna go ahead and that's on your website as well, so that way they can go there and get notified.
No, actually, I don't think I've actually put it on the website, which is a good idea. I should put it on the website today. But I've just been sharing it on Facebook for, I don't know, I hadn't thought about that, but
All right,
yeah.
so get over to David's Facebook page, find that link, and get on Serum, right? That's the one that you're going to be launching?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
That's looking like a good book. It's got nice artwork in it. In fact, all of his freaking books have nice artwork in them, and that's why I asked him back. So you definitely want to get on there and get notified. Okay. And actually, JD's got the link for us right there. Okay, so you can just go ahead.
Thank you.
And copy and paste that. Thank you very much for that. Okay, and now I just want to show everybody the one of the giveaways that we're going to be doing tonight. Okay, it's this guy right here. And JD, if you could bring that up for you. But while he's bringing that up, this is Alley Cat, which was a character created from Image of this very popular actress. Her name is Allie Baggett. Okay. I don't know if a lot of people are going to be familiar with that.
Which I did some work on that book.
Exactly, and that's the reason why I brought it up.
That's why you picked it.
Okay, yeah.
Cool.
And if you can bring that up, JD, it's that one of the files I sent over, Alley Cat versus Pendragon, I believe. Lady
Sorry,
yeah. But yeah, so that is going to be one of the giveaways, and this is in one of the thicker boxes that Toy Fair put this in. There you go. Okay.
Yep, that's
and
the crossover.
John did work on that. That was an exclusive out of the Wizard magazine during that time, during that day. Little crossover. Was that a crossover action, or was that?
Yeah, that was a crossover issue, but she also had, Alley Cat also had her own individual series for a while.
Right. Now, because Alley Cat I know was under Image, but was Lady Pendragon, was that under your own house, or was that part of
No,
Image
it was
as
Image.
well? Okay, it was. Okay, so.
All through Image, yeah.
All right. Yeah, under Rob, right?
The very first issue that Matt Hawkins put out.
Oh, under Matt. Okay.
All the stuff that Matt and I did for like 2 years was just our own thing, but under Image. Yeah, I don't think he might have had Silverhawk Productions, I think was the name of his.
Right, because you guys had a table at Frankenson's, right?
Mm-hmm. A few times, yeah.
Yeah, because you guys were only like a couple tables away from me over there at Frankenstein. So I would see you guys there trying to put out your books and the artwork there. Okay,
that's cool.
Right, and I did like Lady Pendragon, and that's why there's this Joe Jusko had done a Lady Pendragon litho. Right?
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, and JD, you can bring that up. That's the last one I had.
Yeah, Joe did a lot of work for Matt on Lady Pendragon.
Okay,
but
so
that
there's my Lady Pendragon litho.
Wow, nice.
Yeah. Kept it protected in this frame there. Okay, so that was like back in the day. I do have a thing with the Arthurian myth, and I like when people tell those stories. Big fan of DC's Camelot 2000 when they came out with
yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, I liked it. The ending I wasn't too happy about, but I did like that series. The art was fantastic too.
Oh, Brian Boland, yeah, you can't get better than him.
Let's see. Ilya writes, David, some great looking covers on your website. The Jim Leonard looks great, and the Blaine art is detailed. Also, Blaine is doing some really wonderful work there. If you haven't seen him before, but that guy's got his pages are filled.
Yeah. Patrick is a monster. He really is. He's so talented, but he's just... he
Is
just
he
doesn't know how to
fast
promote
with
himself,
those?
but he's getting there. He's getting there. He's getting that confidence.
Yeah.
You
Is
know,
he
to
fast
really...
with those pages, David?
No comment. He's
Uh-oh.
I mean, like I guess any artist would be, depending on
Yeah, but if you're getting pages
work.
like that, I think it's worth the wait.
Yeah, well, I remember when he did that book, I think it took him 6 months, 6 or 7 months to finish.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes sense. If
yeah. And he
you,
was,
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and he was painting every single page,
Ooh.
digitally painting every single page.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a lot of work. Okay, yeah. If it was just pencils, that would be looked at as like super slow. But then when you throw that in, and he's doing all that other stuff in there.
Yeah.
So, oh, yeah.
I mean, I would love for him to do the next issue exactly how he did the first one, but
Mhm.
that's one of the things that we were talking about last time. He was saying that now he can pencil and ink himself, so that would be a lot faster. He could probably, I think he said 1 page or 2 pages a day or something like that.
Wow. For
I
him,
think that's what he said.
For any artist, that's fast.
Yeah, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's what he said. I could be wrong, but I mean, yeah, that'd be a super fast compared to the way he worked. But we weren't in a hurry to get the book done. We just wanted it to be done correctly, right? And we were all on the same page, so it came out really, really well. I'm really, really proud of it, and that's why I wish, but I wish that we can, or hope we can do it the same. But if we can't, I mean, as long as it's Patrick on it, I think that's okay.
Yeah. All right. And now, John.
Yes, sir.
You've been saying that you're gonna on your Facebook page. You're gonna be coming out with Scarlet Crush.
Yes, that is the plan. I was going to do a completely different series that I had in my head for a long time. But the response that I kept getting from everyone on my page was, we want Scarlet Crush. And I thought, well, how could I say no? I just didn't have a story for those characters. And then something clicked in my head. And I thought, okay, that's a way I could take it now, 20 years after the fact. That would be exciting for me, because I really don't want to just, put something out just to put it out. I want it to be exciting for the fans and for me, because if it's exciting for me, it's going to be hopefully exciting for anyone who reads it to a degree. So yeah, that's what I'm working on bringing back for sure. I'm excited about it. I did some promo images that you can find on my Facebook page. First time drawing those characters in a very, very, very long time. I did maybe a few sketches. Yeah, that was
cover
my
that's up
sort
right now. That's one of my favorite covers that you had done. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
That's a memorable one.
They had to add the little panty thing on the back because Rob made the colorist add that. She's not supposed to have that on. I wanted it to be like, I was very inspired by Barbarella and that sort of clear vinyl costume that she wore in one of the scenes. And I thought,
oh, okay.
It kind of riff on that a little bit.
You like sci-fi?
Any idea when we can expect Scarlet Crush or?
I don't know. I am working on a lot of different things. When it comes out, I want it to be at the height of sort of the awareness it can reach, so that way it does well. And doing a lot of these covers for other creators, I think, is helping people who maybe didn't know me from before get to know me now, and that'll help a lot, with the launch of that campaign. But yeah, it's a lot of work because when I was doing comic books back in the day, I was just penciling. I did write Scarlet Crush, but it was just pencil and writing. Now I ink and color all my own work, and I don't know how much I'll do on the actual comic book other than probably the writing, penciling and inking. I want to at least do a color pass on it if someone else colors it. just so it looks more aligned with my style. Because to me, I want to be an artist. I was always an artist before I got into comic books as a kid. Meaning, I completed an entire full color piece every time I would draw something. Going back to when I was like 7 years old, it was always like pencil, ink, color.
Yeah.
So to me, that's what the word artist means. And, I'm not trying to say that one person is less than another, but if someone says, hey, you want to pencil a book for me? I'm like, not really, but, pencil, ink, and color, something like that. I just love the process of it. And to me,
you're like the full artist. You want to see the whole thing finished,
Yes,
not
right.
partial.
Yes.
You want to see the whole thing done. Yeah.
Because it's in my head. It already looks the way I'm going to finish it. If someone else does it, it's not going to be wholly my art.
Right.
And I just like it that way. I admire, those are the artists that today, I still love my Arthur Adams and Michael Goldens and all this stuff. But the artists that I am inspired by today are all the artists that are completing an entire illustration themselves. I find that to be very inspiring. What's that?
Mobius, like European artists.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely. And
and Shawnee writes, "You can count on me, John. When you're ready to launch, I'm in." Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Love it.
I think you knew that already. She's a big fan of yours there.
I take nothing for granted in this world.
Now, there was
that is awesome to know.
Yeah, there was a book that you did too, which I thought was kind of interesting back then. Was Evangeline, right?
Oh yeah, that was really the first book that I was. Well, I did. My very first comic book was Vampirella, and then it was over to Extreme, where I did Team Youngblood for like a year. A couple other books, and then Rob was like, "Hey, you interested in drawing this Evangeline book?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, who wouldn't be?"
Yeah, there you go. We got
so that was probably where most people got exposed to me first, even though the other books were out before then.
Right. Yeah, because that's when I first took notice of you too. Right. When that Evangeline book came in, I said, "Oh, this is interesting." The character was somewhat interesting, and the chromium cover you did double page, and you do actually quite a bit of double page spreads as well. Is that something that you like to do?
Yeah, I do. I mean, that was the image. That's what I was seeing, and that's what I was inspired by. Rob did it, Jim did it, Silvestri did it. So, how could I not follow suit and do something similar, just to draw those big bombastic in your face, double page spreads, or even turning the page,
because when you get to the double page spreads, you don't turn it right away very quickly. You're going to stop and take a look at it. Look at this. That's a nice page here to just stop and take a look at.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
And it's that moment in the comic, or at least one of the moments, and that's a major moment where an artist can just like, hey, show me your stuff, man. Here we go, man.
Well, it's like when you watch a movie, you don't, when you're reading a comic book, you don't have the opportunity for editing like you do in a movie where, maybe you pull it's all about the camera and like, if you want to slow down the reader, you got to give small panels, intricate, character panels. And then when things blow up, you want them to just fly through. What's going to happen next? What's going to happen? So you can really sort of manipulate the reader into a pacing style with how you lay out your pages,
Right.
And hopefully, I think it's funny because the 90s has come back so strong in the last couple of years, because all those people that grew up on it are now spending money, and no one is creating that stuff. Marvel and DC is not giving you what you grew up on in the 90s at all, and
we want to see it. I want to see it.
They do. There's a lot of great artists and a lot of great creators that, are now in that position themselves where they can, hire artists to recreate, that style. And there's a huge audience for it, huge. And that's been my saving grace, because, I did comic books for maybe like 12 years. And then I moved into animation and video game stuff and corporate gigs, because comic books just weren't paying what they used to, and they still don't.
And they haven't, right? Because this situation, right, isn't something that's just come up now, right? When you talk to the old timers too, they went through the same thing.
Yeah.
They all stepped away for a while for whatever reason,
Mm-hmm.
and then they come back.
Yeah.
Starlin did the same thing too, and Barry Windsor Smith, all these big names.
Oh yeah, dude.
They've all
The
stepped away.
audience for comic books is very loyal. Unfortunately, the companies are not loyal. Because
Right.
I saw so many guys who'd worked for Marvel and DC for 25 years just get cast aside with no explanation. Just
Yeah.
sorry, we're done with you. We're moving on to these people now.
Yeah.
I kept seeing that, and I was like, is that really where I want to hand over my future to? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
but with crowdfunding, the future is yours. It's whatever you put into it, you get back,
Yeah.
and the audience will support you in that. I've gotten nothing. I was not a social media guy. I'm still not. But in the last 2 years, when I've been putting out more comic book art and posting up covers I've done and so on and so forth, not one negative person has contacted me to say some, crazy stuff. It's been nothing but supportive and kind, and that's how I feel about the comic book community. You know what I mean? It's just a very supportive in and of itself. Even though there's a divide in a very strong way within the community, I think the community towards the artists and creators is really nothing but supportive, as far as I can see.
Right. Yeah, and I totally agree with you. And being in that community since the 80s, right, and looking at that community, I think that community is even stronger now, right, than ever before. There's more understanding and appreciation for the creators, whether you're a writer, artist, or or what you do. And so we see the artists, and I think that's one reason why the artists these days are able to get more commissions, and they can.
Oh man, when I see what people are paying for some of these commissions online, I'm like, you paid $4,600 for a Jim Lee head sketch that took them 5 minutes. Give me a break. But that's what they want to spend their money on. They need to have that Grail piece in their collection, regardless of what it may be, by that artist, and they'll pay out the nose for it.
Hey, that's what some people want, and hey, I'm not going to put them down for it and stuff. It's not something that I would do.
No, I would not either.
I'd rather spend $4,600 on other people that are doing more than a head sketch. More art
I mean,
in it, more detail, more stuff that's happening in there.
As an artist, I would feel guilty taking that kind of money for what I see people hand you.
Yeah, same here. Okay.
But then I see other artists who,
if that's what if he can,
it's not,
if he likes that and he can take it, that's fine.
It's not a judgment on my part by any means, but as a fellow artist, I just feel some pang of guilt.
There is. And I come from the day when I used to go to the cons. Right, it was easy for me to approach an artist, ask them to sign my books.
Sure,
and it would cost nothing. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was a matter of appreciation, and I still feel that way. Yeah. I tell Mog, I never ever want to charge for a signature.
Sure.
Because these people they're buying your books, your covers, and that's how you're able to get work. Let's give them some love back, right? If it's just a freaking signature that they want, let's give it to them. Do we have to charge everything that they're going to get from us?
I understand a writer charging because he doesn't have the same way to make money as an artist at a con.
Yeah.
But if you're an artist and you're making hand over fist with commissions, and the thing that really changed it was CGC. You know what I mean? Because people were taking signatures and making money off them. And once artists realized, like, look, I'm not going to be your cash cow. If you're going to do this and make money, you got to give me a cut. So I get it on some level, but I also think that there's a limit in which you can charge somebody for something so simple. You know what I mean? What they do with it after the fact is their business as far as I'm concerned. But
that's another topic we could get into, especially with what's going on now with CGC and all that, and the questions that are coming up. Right? But that whole signature thing actually started in the sports world when they started charging signatures for signing a baseball, a bat, or a football. That's where it crossed over into.
Yeah.
And in the comic industry, people are trying to think, well, how can we monetize the same way on that? And they figured it out. Okay. So that's where that's gone. But I liked it back in those days where I could just go to like Wrights, and even Jim Lee. I've gone up to Jim Lee and I've had him sign a stack of books back then. With Rob Liefeld, all of them.
Well, I mean,
it was easy.
You could even at times with the right artist get free sketches.
Yeah.
For the first couple of years of my career when I was doing San Diego, and Rob sort of instituted this and from the beginning, and we, kind of had to fall in line, but he said, look, you're going to be at the table and you're going to do free sketches for people and make them happy, and I said, okay, that's what we're doing. And we all did it. And every once in a while, if someone chit chats with me for a little bit, we got a good vibe, I'll hand them over a head sketch or something, something little. I mean, I'm not going to sit there for 4 hours and draw for free, but, because I think there's a line between like, I won't get into all that. I see artists, it's a shame because it goes both ways. Like there's the Jim Lee thing, and then there's the other artists who I think are very competent and very talented who almost give their work away for free. And I'm like, don't do that either.
Yeah.
Don't do that either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it devalues comic book art as a whole, but also you deserve more than that. You didn't deserve to make $1.50 an hour on that drawing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I've had to tell artists. I've told some artists like, you're putting that out way too cheap. You're practically giving it away. $50. I think you should go like $150 on that.
Sure.
And then there's I said that to this one girl. We were in Hawaii, right? And she did this Spider-Man Venom piece, and it looked really good. And she was going, "You think 75 is too much?" I go, "I think 300 is what you should get on it." So she took it to a store locally there in Hawaii, and then and she actually sold it.
It was colored too.
And then she called me up, Mel, I'm shaking. I actually got 300 for it. See?
Good, yeah.
But I think it's just part of them needs to develop the confidence in their work and value like what they have. Right?
Yeah.
So, once they see that, then they can start going down the right road. But I guess they just need a little kick every now and then.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to negotiate pricing, even if you've been in the industry for years. You know what I mean? Because my pricing is like, well, if it's fair, I want to be fair to the client. I don't want to overcharge. I see a lot of people who've gotten very big in the independent comic book industry doing covers and stuff, and some of the prices they're charging, I'm like, how do you expect that guy to make anything on his Kickstarter when you're taking, that much money from him? So I like to be fair. If it's too much, no problem. You know what I mean? But I also want people to feel like, hey, we worked well together. I'm happy, you're happy, because I would never work for a price that I felt was too high nor too low. You know what I mean? It's a negotiation in that little gray area between the two that has to happen. And hopefully it's beneficial to both people. And if it is, then, I think David felt that way to some degree when we started working together, because obviously he asked me back to do more stuff. So, I think we've negotiated out something that works for both of us,
Yeah, that's something that people have to realize how it is. I just want to go to this one comment here by Reef to See Forever. I remember I gave a stack of books to Stan Lee to sign at a con, and he was cool. He signed them all. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It was easy back then to give stacks of books.
There was a period of time when Stan was just like nobody almost.
Yeah.
Before he really got into the media, when you heard his voice in cartoons and you started seeing him in movies and people started associating and knowing him. But there was a good chunk of time in his career when he was just sort of like, oh yeah, that old guy that made that, whatever. And people didn't care.
Yeah.
But then he became
I think it started after Spider-Man.
Yeah.
What's that?
He was trying to make a name for himself in Hollywood, so that way, he could get support for trying to do these Marvel movies. right? So he was trying to do like whatever he could just to draw attention to his name. Yeah,
and he was good at it, man. You cannot say
and
that,
it worked. You know,
Mhm.
eventually he got around to it. You know.
Oh yeah. I mean, he died, unfortunately, but I'm sure he had a good chunk of change in his bank account when things were all said and done.
Yeah, it seems like that he did.
Yeah, and Stanley is not really an artist. He's just a very brilliant businessman. So,
He's a very, very intelligent businessman. He knows how to sell. He's got charisma. He just has a likability to him that's immediate, whether you know who he is or not. You know what I mean? He just has that way about him.
Yeah.
And he was able to use that to his advantage to sort of surpass all his peers in the industry, even though he was just a writer and an editor, basically, publisher. But,
all right, let's take a look at what you guys have so far on your art pages before we go to the next break. Okay, Mog has her Baylet.
And who's that character? I don't know if I know that character.
Conan's, in Conan, there's one of the female character called Baylet, and she is a pirate queen.
She was the pirate queen.
Yeah, pirate queen.
Yeah.
So you and I are working in the same universe, just on different characters.
Yeah. Right. I actually was wondering what to draw, and then you said Red Sonja, so I thought, let's do something in that universe. Yeah.
This is part of my geekery right here. If I can just show this off real quick.
Conan.
Nice.
Frazetta styled Conan figure. Oh, I had to have this.
Frazetta styled, his face for the Conan is my favorite.
Oh God, yeah, it's so perfect. It's so dead on. They nailed that.
Yeah.
But there's the
Red Sonja there.
Just about ready to be colored up.
Spicy.
Nice. She's got the full lips too going on there. Okay.
Love that.
All right, so we've got a bid on that for 69. We are looking for the next bid, and we are still looking for a bid on Mog's Baylet of 65. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Sure.
Why was Princess Zelda sad after watching a bunch of YouTube videos? She couldn't find the link in the description. We'll stop if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's super easy. Click subscribe and click the bell when you do. And thanks for supporting the EXP.
Live from New York. What? Oh, sorry. Live from Cleveland? It's Friday night? It's Friday Night Live! With Nancy McCann. And Ricky. And sometimes Carlos. And featuring boxes and boxes of rare comics. Unique collectibles. Lots of smiles and conversations with new friends. Friday Night Live with Comics Unlimited. Friday night from 9 to 11 on The Experience. There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com to find a store near you.
According to a statistic that I just made up, people spend 4 hours a day changing the television channel. People who watch The Experience don't do that. Save yourself a ton of time by tuning into The Experience and enjoying our new original programming 7 days a week. And then tell your friends. Think about the money they could save on batteries in the remote alone just by tuning into The Experience. Find out more by scanning the QR code below.
Welcome back, guys.
Hey.
So, I was reading one of this comic, and I have two things to talk about. The first thing is there in that world, there's a group of people called the artisans, and the organization says they never give deadlines to the artisans because the moment you do give them the deadline, they end up procrastinating so much that they end up not doing anything. I mean, they either like produce very shoddy products or they turn in really late. So, so they just let them free and just create whatever they want that that they feel like doing. So they end up being actually very productive. But what do you guys feel about that? Like that philosophy about deadline? Do you kind of agree with that commentary in that story I told you, or?
I think for me, a deadline is important. I have the opposite effect of what you just described. Usually, if it's sort of this nebulous, unknown, unspoken thing of when it needs to be turned in. But I think that the person I'm working for has to be honest. People like to pad deadlines, which I'm not overly fond of. But yeah, I mean, look, everyone has their own creative way of doing things, and however they work best, hopefully they can jive with whoever they're working for and find that thing that works for them. But deadlines are important. It's an important part of the job. It comes with the territory, and I think if you have a problem with deadlines, you probably shouldn't be a professional artist.
Yeah.
I agree with you. What about you, David?
Yeah, I completely agree with John. I personally don't set deadlines for myself because I don't really need them when it comes to writing. But I know that, everybody I work with, they always ask me, by when do you need this? And I give them a specific date, and I always get it before that. And then it's specifically set to be able to move forward with everything else, the coloring, the lettering, the printing, so on and so forth. So especially with Kickstarter, when we're putting specific dates when we're going to be, hopefully shipping everything out to the customer. So, that's a bigger thing. And if we have people not following deadlines, it's going to be hard to.
Yeah. And for me, like right now, this month, I have to do 4 covers.
Yeah.
And if I don't get accurate deadlines from everyone, I could have got that guy's done when he needed it earlier and waited on that one and put him toward. So I need to know specifically when is everyone's anticipated deadline so that I can do things in the right order to get everybody what they need in time. You know what I mean? So
and that's the key thing, is to get it in on time, because time is money, right? Because to the publisher, if you miss that deadline, you're not just missing a deadline, right? For them,
Sure.
It's money, right? Because they've got it all scheduled. They've put in so much money into it.
Yeah.
And
you
they
have
need
to be
try and
respectful.
get it back as
You
soon
have
as
to.
possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they got to roll it over, okay? Because that's what they're living off on. So if they start paying out 3 months, that's 3 months of nothing coming back.
Yeah.
Sure.
And they need to get something.
But I think
same thing with when you're in mainstream, it was the same thing. Like if you miss a deadline for Marvel and DC, you think it's nothing, but it's something, because
it's
they
huge,
have to reserve a spot with the printer, right? And if they miss that spot, right, sure, they can reschedule it, but the printer's going to fine you 10 grand, so they're going to be out 10 grand in the front before they even start printing it, just because it was late.
But I think the theme of that vein of the story, I mean, I'm not going to go too much into detail about it, but I think you can't really truly get that creativity if you put a deadline on. I think that was maybe the point of it. Like it's that pure type of creativity. It's not going to.
Well, that's when I think you should go and to business for yourself, because then you control everything. And ways to do that these days that were never available to us before, whether you're a writer, an artist, or any other creative, and you can just sort of live in your happy little world doing whatever you do and churning out the best work if you can financially afford to do that. That's the only difference to me that's huge is that, if I was getting, say, $1,000 a cover, I would take a lot more time and put a lot more detail and passion into it. Deadlines do, unfortunately, cause the potential for work to suffer. But at the same time, if we don't make these rules, then it's just chaos, and we have to have boundaries and rules that we all follow. So it's just, like I said, it's part of the job. It's a big part of it.
If you're looking to be fully creative and produce work for somebody else, you're not gonna get that.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. I know that there's probably creatives who have found that, but it is not the norm by any means.
Right. So don't expect to put out your best.
Put out the best you can do. That's
David doesn't
the time frame that you have. Put out the best you can do within the time frame that you have allowed.
Right. Yeah.
Now, is that the best of the best that you can do? No. Give me a couple more hours, it'll be better.
Sure.
Give me a year, it'll be much, much better. But you don't have that luxury.
I wish there was a serum where I could just inject myself and draw 10 times faster. That would be great. But it doesn't exist.
The ability to stop time.
I wish.
Anyway, before I forget, don't forget to hit that follow button. Now we can increase our fellowship here and have more beautiful content for you. And if you haven't yet, put in #EXP SketchUp. We'll be doing that drawing pretty soon for the Alley Baggett Alley Cat Wizard Toy Fair exclusive. And the second drawing we'll have is an original Thor sketch from Mog Park. This was a study off of
gorgeous.
Which artist were you doing on this, Mog?
What did you say?
Who's the artist that you were doing a study on for this? What's his name?
Not anybody really. I was just doing a rough.
Okay, I thought it was. All right. Never mind. All right, so those are our 2 free giveaways, and we'll be doing those very shortly here. So, John, what are your current projects?
Doing a lot of covers for different people, hoping to pull in even more covers. I love doing them. I would say still it's more like 50-50, where I'm doing like 50% commissions, which is what I've been doing for 20 years regardless. If I have time, I take on more. If I don't have the time, then I take on less. But they're always open, always available, always there. And then, I got pulled back into comic books by Larry Higgins and his Niobe comic. He had contacted me and said, "Do you still draw?"
Did a cover for him.
Yeah, I've done quite a few now. I've done like 3 or 4 for him. He wants me basically to do a cover for every book he does. Evangeline was like his all-time favorite when he was younger. So he's been very cool to me. And, I just didn't understand. I knew crowdfunding existed in comic books, but I didn't understand it. He pulled me in and really introduced me to a lot of stuff that I didn't understand before. And, being around other creative artists and writers just got my juices flowing. I'm like, I want to get back into comic books again, because I don't have to work for the big 2 or really anyone. I could just figure this out myself or work for people that I want to. So many options. So doing pretty much covers for him on anything he puts out. Same with Atrocity Press. I do a cover for every one of their books. David's pulled me in now, which I'm happy and proud to be a part of.
Right.
What he's got going on. I'm doing a cover for Mark Polton and his U.S. Assassin book. So that's my first. I've
seen him.
My first work with him. So I'm excited.
Okay,
that's what's on the plate.
That's great to hear. Mog, what size is that piece that you're working on? Is it 8.5 by 11?
Yes.
And then is it going to be pencils, or are you going to color that, or what's happening with it? It's Ilya that's asking.
Oh, it's
Steve.
Pencil. Yeah.
Okay, it's just going to be straight pencils. All right. So there you go. 8.5 by 11. Still looking for a bit of 65. And I wanted to say that when we were talking about pricing and all that, and then you just brought it up to like how you're doing a lot of covers and coming back in. That's kind of like how we make our money, right? So and how you're saying that, like, you have to give them a price where they can make money back on it, and you're charging so much. How do you expect them to come on top?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And so we have it's a two-tier pricing, just like is in retail. In retail, you have your wholesale price level. Okay, so standard about average is it's 40% below the retail price.
Mm-hmm.
So that way the retailer could buy it at that price and then mark it up and get that 40%.
Yeah.
So in comics,
Mm-hmm.
at least for like Mog and I, it's kind of like similar to that. We have the rate that we charge the publisher. Okay, but that rate is much lower than what we would normally get from like other areas. Okay, and even for like on commissions, right?
Mm-hmm.
On commissions, you can get like a whole lot more because then you're allowed to add in more time and create something that's because you're not too much on a time constraint. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so if you want to understand that, at least the people in the audience, and I know most of them probably understand that the artists will charge more than what they're going to charge a publisher, but understand that they are going to be putting more time into it. Like, so there's times where Mog might end up doing one commission 3 times just to try and get it right.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
That way, the client is going to be happy. But with the publishers, there isn't always that kind of time available.
Yeah.
Right. So you're going to try to do the best you can, like within that time.
Yeah.
And we're fortunate that the industry supports us and that they can be patient. Right. They know that if they wait, they're going to get something good. So we're pretty happy for that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get to the free giveaways. I want to thank you guys for coming on. Very
so
interesting
much.
conversations that we've
Yeah,
been
it was
having.
great fun.
First giveaway, we're going to do the Thor sketch. Let's see who gets this.
Mog got a bid.
Oh, thank you.
From Stevie B. We have Derek. Gets the
Congratulations!
Don't forget to fill out that form so that we know where it's going. And now for the Alley Cat figure.
Oh, Shawnee almost had it. Oh, Sean! Oh!
Shawnee almost had it, but Steve.
But congratulations to
You
Steve.
lucky bastard.
Congrats to Steve.
Oh, we're so lucky, that guy.
Okay, and so all right, so we have a bid. Okay, that's from Stevie B. Who had the bid on? Oh, that was Ilya. Okay, Ilya has the bid on the. Ilya. Okay, and then the other 2 pieces you have up, John.
Yeah, I can show those off again.
Let's show those once again. All right, these are just claims here. $80.
Just claims. Scarlet Crush, which is my character.
There you go.
They're returning hopefully before the end of this year. There were books published previous to the new series back in the day. You can probably find them in your local dollar bins, perhaps. But grab them now because when the book comes back, they're going to go up in value. And then I've got.
I know I have my set somewhere.
I've got Felicia from Darkstalkers available, $85. So if anyone wants that, and those are the only 2 lingering pieces that I have at the moment.
Okay, and we have like a few more minutes, so anybody wants to claim those now. Okay, and that's all going to be all yours. Okay.
Yep.
And then next week we've got a special show going on. We have another art jam. Didn't expect to have one so soon, but we are having another one next week.
And I'll be back for that one.
John will be back for that.
That's right.
And still will Stephen Yu will be back for that. And Sean Lenahan will also be back for that.
Cool.
And then on top of that, we will also have a couple of new guys. You might have heard of them. Walden Wong. He's one of the he's won the Inkpot Awards for inking.
He's a young whippersnapper.
You could say that. And then we also have Mr. Stephen Fershaw will be there too. Okay, so we'll be lucky to have him.
One of the early premier colorists in comic books, and still kicking ass.
Yeah, he's still kicking major ass out there. Right. Let's see, John, do you keep in touch with
No, I do not. There were some interesting things that went on back in the day with that whole Baggett situation. But it involved me and
several situations.
I did not.
If you ever talk to us at a con, we might tell you about some of those.
Yeah. Catch me at a convention and I'll tell some stories.
With her and a bunch of other...
I could write a book on the stories that I've got from my Image comic days. I'm telling you, it might even be a two-parter.
And that's what always makes it interesting getting together with the Image guys, because there is always a bunch of interesting stories. And that's one reason why I wanted to get an Image group together, just to be able to look at
for sure.
And laugh at
Marlo, Norm,
yeah.
Joe Weems. I mean, whoever was around back in the day, I'd love to see him.
Mm-hmm.
All good friends that I wish I could still see, today. But
so come back next week and you'll see some of those guys that we'll have, and we might even have like a couple more guys still waiting to get confirmation. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but anyway, thanks again, guys, for joining us.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you guys soon. All right.
Thank you.
Take care now.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Do you remember what it was like when you were a little kid and you got a letter in the mail? Now imagine that letter was filled with information about your favorite shows, pop culture questions, links to things you're going to want to see later, and even sneak peeks at upcoming programming here on The Experience. That's what the EXP mailing list is. Every week, we send you sneak peeks, information, and all of the relevant links for all of the shows you want to see. Sign up now on our website or scan the QR code that's on your screen right now.